right. Hopefully this works. Give me a second, everybody. I'm getting my systems ready. So give it some time. So give me a minute. Just trying to do something real quick. Hopefully some people jump on. I got I say a big announcement, but got an announcement to make. Um, but give me a couple minutes. Just want to make sure that I'm on. So it's hard sometimes when I'm on my iPad because iPads are so stupid you can't really see chat or anything else. And what I realized yesterday is I was on live stream. I didn't even realize it. So I did the same thing I did yesterday. I was like, all right, well, let me see if it works. So hopefully I'm on live stream now. And, we'll see. So I'm almost where I need to be. So thank you very much for your patience. And 1 second. All right, almost there. And all right, well, it looks like I am live, y'all. So that's good. That's definitely good news. So now I can go ahead and just do my thing here. So everybody, welcome to the live stream going on. So got about 30, 40 minutes of time. And I wanted to go over, a lot of people gave their take on, what they thought about the I guess Library of War. I just for me, I just really kind of took a look at it again, and I think they changed it a little bit. I'm not really sure, um, but I just kind of what was that? so so basically, I wait for more people to come on before I'll go into details. I want to repeat it over and over again. So I am unable, not able at all, to see if you're online. So I'm going to ask that anyone who comes online, just give me a shout out in the room. I see right now there's 0 people watching. So right now I'm going to fill some space. Um, it's like a live. Is it really live if you're talking to yourself? I don't know. Looks like we got 2 people on. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. So who's online? I can't really see. I see there's 2 watching. That's all I can see. They don't give me no details. Don't even worry about that. So a couple. I'm making an announcement. I'm going to go over the strategy, the war thing. I think it's a little. I don't know. I'll talk about it, and then everyone can let me know what you think about it. I only got 1 watching now. Come on, y'all. I'm trying to get this John started. I only got 1 person. Well, for you, 1 person who's standing by me, I appreciate it. Back up to 2 people. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I appreciate it. All right, so for you 2 people who joined me within the first 5 minutes, appreciate it there. So I'll probably be repeating this multiple times. I don't want to have you waiting for it. But basically, I want to talk about the Library of War. This is why you came anyway. If you can just give me a chat, let me know how you're doing. 3 people on now. Awesome. Great. Um, But looking at the library award, I think let's take a look at what it's actually saying. All right, so I'm gonna go to my Calvary. All right, so basically, if you click any of these particular troop types, right? To me, what this is saying, it doesn't apply to all of your troops. So, for example, Wing Hussein looks awesome. All right, adds 3% of your wing thrown, and it adds damage 3%. So you hear damage, you hear adding bump, so it sounds really decent. However, this is only for my T11 cavalry, and if you're going to have a real diversified formation, are you going to have that many T11 cavalry? So think about it as a slice of pizza, and you got X number of slices, whatever. So you got, say, whatever, 10 slices of pizza, and just so happened that your T11 cavalry is going to be extra big slice. Maybe say 20% of the pizza. Your T10s are going to be maybe 10%, and the rest will make up the difference. So this attack portion is only based on that T11 portion of that pie. So so for me, you got to think about it. All right, well, does it make sense to put a whole bunch and fill this guy up if he's not a big part of your overall formation? So if you're heavy in one troop or the other, I would go for individual troops, because it only so it only depends on that one particular troop. However, the one I filled up at 10, basically very simple. It increases my cavalry power by 22% of their defense. So that basically, just simple math. Defense is 100. This is going to give me 22 extra cavalry attack. Versus if you look over here, it's like, all right, well, I got all these different troops in my formation, and only my T11 cavalry is going to receive this extra 3%, depending on what the other person has, and it's going to have some extra damage. So I think overall, going to the individual tiers first, you're kind of losing out because you're not getting the full benefit. So if I was going to try to build up my war strategies, I would start with the ones that carry more weight across all of the troops, and it clearly says all troops. It's not something you have to have the question. So here's another one. For your distance, the defense for your distance, add 3%. So I would start here, and particularly I would start with the this one, and I would start with the cavalry of the same, because that's giving you extra attack. All it is very simply giving you extra attack. After you do that, then you can look at this, where, all right, well, on this first part, they're saying they give you a portion of your attack that relates to your defense for your cavalry. The next part is going to increase your defense overall, which in turn is going to increase your attack as well. So unfortunately, I can't interact with y'all because no one's really saying anything or typing. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about that. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Those two of you who are watching this. I gotta figure out how to get more views on this thing. So basically, what you want to do is, instead of going right down to an individual troop, go to your fill up this part first. Sorry, get back in there. First, depending on where you are, so the reason why I chose cavalry, looking at my stats here for a second. So, if it's purely my cavalry stats, um, my defense and cavalry stats are around the same, a little more on the cavalry side by about 10% or so. So it's saying that I'm going to get an extra 400% if this is to believe of cavalry attack based off of this defense thing. Based off the 22% of my cavalry defense. Dang, I'm losing. I must be bored as hell. That's funny, dude. But I'm not really sure. They're talking about this stat. So when you're looking at your war strategies, let's go back and take a look at it. So they're talking about your war masters increase the health by 1.5% of your war masters, and they're talking about increasing this. I'm not sure they're actually talking about your entire power. So people think that, oh, they're talking about everything, right? So naturally, you're going to think that, all right, well, they're talking about giving me 20% of all my stats, which is going to add an extra, if you think about, all right, let's kind of take a step back. So right now, I have my cavalry, and this is what I selected because it's a simple math. 22 times attack, 22 times the 22% of the defense will be added to the attack, right? So if I were to say, all right, that's my stats. Let's look at my stats and how I'm going to look at that. Looking at my stats, my cavalry defense is almost 2,200. So are they saying they're going to give me an extra 400%? It doesn't make sense for them to do that. So what I believe they're actually saying that people aren't realizing anyway, is not your total stats. It's if you go here, these stats right here. So when you're doing your formula, you have to look at the individual stats for each particular tier of your troops. Nothing else. Each troop has, different stats, so you combine them all together times whatever you have. So they're not talking about your total stats. You would think it sounds like it. Oh, they're talking your total stats. I'm going to increase. That's what. And then you realize in the battle, wow, I'm not getting a whole lot of this power. I don't understand why that's not happening. And that's because they're not talking about, these stats right here with the strategies, the library of war strategies. So when you're going to pick something out, you got to figure out, like, all right, well, to me, combining all of my cavalry versus going just towards one or the other, based on my formation, I think it's better, and this is my opinion, to first start here, increasing the cavalry attack power based on the defense, and then start here in terms of increasing the defense, which will ultimately increase the attack power. So I wish people would communicate, because I don't understand what y'all getting from this. For me, it would be better uh, if y'all had questions. But anyway, I'll just keep talking. Um, One thing I do want to say, if any of you are do your own videos, for me, one thing people say they wish they had more attack videos, and for me, I just don't do a lot of that stuff. So my offer is, if you do attack videos, send me a copy of that. I'll put it on my channel, and whatever the earnings is on that video, I'm going to split it halfway with whoever sends me the videos. So basically, you know what I mean? So it's a way for y'all to see other people who may have like C40s just go crazy like that. So you online, can you just like type something in the chat to let me know if you have any questions about what I said? So basically, it's not your total stats that they're talking about, right? These Library of War strategies are not talking about this, because it doesn't make sense for them to talk about that. What they're actually talking about is something a lot smaller in regards to the entire part of it. They're talking about these individual stats for each type of troop. That's why they can have something that says, if your T11s or your T10s, T9s, they can go specific, because then you can see here like, oh yeah, all right, this is what they're talking about. Now, with that said, this is only one troop. So for one troop, you get 5% health, 8% attack, 8% defense, and times that by how many ever troops you have in your march. It can add an incremental value, but it's not going to be the value that people think when they select a Library of War. And that's why most people say, I don't really see the benefit, because the benefit is so small that, yeah, depending on how many your troop size, that's going to matter. Depending on how many of the particular type of um, troop, whether it's cavalry, distance, artillery, and so forth, is going to matter. And pretty much that's, to me, how this whole Library of War strategies work. And I just want to get people's feedback on, what do you think about my theory? I know it's different from a lot of people. A lot of people say, oh, you got to choose this person, you got to choose that person. So let's take a look at this in my example, what I'm saying to do. With my cavalry, 22% of the defense. So looking at this guy, my top guy, all right, so his defense is 9. That means that I'll get an extra 2. So instead of having 6, 11, 9, I'll have 6, 13, 9. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to give me something. All right, I see something. Is it worth spending? I think in the long run, it's going to, that's like, okay, y'all were talking. Sorry about that. I didn't see that. Hey, what's going on? So I think it's worth, in the long run, when you come to somebody with similar stats, that's going to make a difference. So what's the 40, 20, 40 formation, Julian? I'm not familiar with that. So, yeah. So in terms of Criminac, if it's worth spending, I would say I wouldn't focus solely on the war strategies as a way to beat my opponents. I think it's a part of the overall battle, that if you're at somebody that's close and you're battling them, any extra part you can get to help defeat your enemy is going to be good. And if you think about it, like I said, it's not what you're seeing here is per troop, the troop details. But if you add all the troops you put in there, you put 20,000 troops, that can add up. So it's not so small. So, but I'm just trying to break it down on a small enough level so you can kind of see what you're actually getting. So I know a couple of new people came on. I'll go over it one more time. So basically, there's a lot of things out there, a lot of videos about the war strategies. And what they are, they're not about your stats. Just taking a look at what they're saying. They're saying nothing about your total stats. So this talks specifically about the Royal Gunner. If it's about your total stats, why would it talk specifically about the troop you have, right? However, what it is about, you have to remember that each of your troops has their own stats that they add to your overall power. 40% infantry, 20% cavalry, 40% defense. So you talk about in your formation, that's what you use, Julian? So my formation is a little different. So I don't know, I had some success with this formation. Looking at my troop formation here. 1 second, let me get back to the right spot. Now I have some T11s. I really didn't incorporate them yet. This is basically my T10 formation. Now I use this based off of the idea I put out earlier regarding how the troops actually battle each other. So you think about it, when troops fight, it's going to be two waves. There's going to be the pikemen, heavy cavalry, and the riflemen on the first wave. They're going to die first in that order. Then after they battle, then the next wave comes to clean everyone out. And that's going to be your light cavalry. They're going to, as soon as that first wave go in, open up space, that light cavalry is going to shoot through the hole, boom, run to the back, start slicing some people up in the back. And then from there, you got your musketmen and your bombers just picking people off. So that's how the actual battle works. So when you're putting together a actual formation, you have to remember that. So you can't just put, like I saw some people do, like most of their stuff in like the top two tiers, and then for the bottom tiers put like 500 for all the ones on the bottom. That's not going to do anything. That's just because you're putting 500 from 1 through 8 and putting everything else in 9 and 10. That's defeating the purpose. It's dependent on the subclass of the actual troop. So if you're just putting something in the top two, in this case, my top two is a heavy cavalry and a light cavalry. Let me go back. However, if I had T10s now, my first two are two light cavalry. And that's defeating that. That means that I'm not putting enough heavy cavalry in that first wave to open up the gap for my light cavalry. So when you're thinking about your formation, it's not just simple, just do this, this, and this. You gotta actually think about, all right, do I have enough troops to open the hole for that second wave? So take a look at my PvP formation video. I kind of go through that in more detail. But looking at my formation, I guess it's pretty simple. All right, so this is what I use, and basically this is my This is what I used when I had a T10. I don't have on my T11 yet, so I haven't changed it around. So basically, my T10 infantry or my pikemen, they're going to be in that front part. I need enough of them to make sure they can open up a hole. If my pikemen are destroyed, pretty much my second wave can't do anything because I don't have any troops after that. My light cavalry, T10 cavalry, I don't really need a lot of them because they're not coming until that second wave. So I don't need to throw in a whole lot of T10 light cavalry because they're not even going to fight in that first wave. I need people that's going to be there during that first kind of opening up everything for me. All right, well, hopefully I can add some light to you. And as I mentioned, the in that first wave, you have the riflemen. So that's why if you look at my T10s, I have most of my formation in both the infantry and the distance, but the cavalry it's down to 25 because I don't need light cavalry in my first. I just need more people up there that first battle, and then light cavalry will come later on. So I'm going to lean heavier towards that battle ram first wave. T9s, look at your T9s troops. Again, these are your gunners, your infantry. So as you can see here, looking at the formation, I'm putting more of my pikemen in front of my gunners. Because again, like I said, pikemen are going to be the ones taking the brunt. Gunners are the ones backing them up and shooting the people down once that takes place. Light cavalry, think about it. Your T10 cavalry and your T9 cavalry are both the same. They're both light cavalry, so you don't want to go too heavy with both of those because it's like putting, it doesn't make sense to go too heavy there. And then I have my grenadiers. As you can see here, I have them at 15,000, where I have my riflemen higher at 40. Now, the reason for that is you think of the grenadiers are after the first wave happened, after um, the light cavalry goes and cuts people up in the back. Then the musketmen shooting people down. Then you have the grenadiers throwing their stuff. So by the time you're using the grenadiers, ideally you don't have a lot more troops left to take the damage. If your first wave did what they're supposed to do, your grenadiers there are just really to clean people up. So for the most part, they cause a lot of damage only because you're just kind of cleaning everyone up. So each grenadier you'll see like, all right, my grenadier just like killed a ton of people. Yeah, because those are the people who are the weakest. But no, but Big D, if you look at your formation, your T9 cavalry are always the first to die. For some reason, on that second wave, the T9 cavalry are the first ones that hit the back of it. So they suck, but they have a reason. So, it's not about any individual troop over the other. It's like, all right, what's the purpose there? And then going down to T8s, more infantry with my pikemen. This is where I have my heavy cavalry. So right now, in my heavy cavalry, I only put 15,000 there. I don't know. I guess because I have so many infantry and my heavy cavalry is kind of weak at T8s. I figured let's put more of my stronger infantry up front. But now that I have my new heavy cavalry as T11s, I'll increase that percentage. So my decision to put a lower amount of heavy cavalry just really is based off of, do I want to put more T10 pikemen up there, or do I want to put a whole bunch of heavy cavalry? And actually, the pikemen are actually going to do the brunt of the damage, not the heavy cavalry. Yeah, they take some damage, and when you think about it, if the T9 Cavalry is going to go there and be the first to die, they're absorbing some of the blows, a lot of the blows from your other people. So yeah, it's you and like I said, so yeah, so basically, it's not about just putting like, all right, your first two troops and then 500, 500. I created this mix. It kind of works for me. Focusing on different things. But whatever. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, don't look at your troops as I need my top ones and that's it. Each one has its own purpose. Understand how the actual battle works. Will actually do better for you. Yeah, so you got a meat shield, and that helps you if you are hit. So nobody gonna kill you, Julian. Which I think you're my boy Pete over here. So you're fine. I mean, somebody attack you, whatever. They can forget that. So what I'm talking about here is more PvP. This is kind of like, all right, attack one on one. Not really attacking castles, because if you're going to attack castles, if you don't have any of your artillery with you, that's going to be a lot harder to do that. But going back, yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't know. So for me, I have a total of 2.7 million troops. I can imagine having a million T2 infantry or a million T2 cav and distance, T1 distance. I feel you, Big D. Yeah, it is confusing. But if you think about it on just a regular level, it's not. It's all right. Well, one, just filling your waves. Just make sure you have enough that's going to take the brunt of that first wave, and then make sure the rest just do their job. It's easier to plan for the light cavalry, musket men, and distance than it is to kind of figure out your allocation for the pikemen, heavy cavalry, and riflemen. So whatever. That's kind of my understanding of troop formation. But I'm gonna go back. Um, One announcement I made is if you have some videos of some killing, thrashing, music playing, all that stuff, send it to me. If I make money on it, give you half of that. I'll post it. I'll give you props on my channel. I don't do enough of that. Understanding that I don't do enough of that, I need to rely on people like Peeps and everybody to take care of that, help me out with that. Well, yeah, but he's not. Not really though. You think about it, like a mega rally. If a mega rally sends what 2 million at Peeps Castle, he got 3 million of just stuff in the way. But then he also have other millions of other troops to battle as well, to battle back. So I think I think it might be hard. There's a video. This guy who had like a ton of low troops, and this big C40 couldn't burn them because he had like a ton of these small troops. So I don't know. I don't know which one is right. But it definitely wouldn't hurt to have some meat shields. Um, but I don't know if everybody was on. Basically, when it comes to the Library of War, it's not about your total stats, right? So it's not about, yeah, definitely not about honor challenge. Don't think about it as this right here. It has nothing to do with this. So if you're looking for a big bump in your stats when you're attacking people and you're wondering why, oh, I got all this stuff, I don't know what's happening. It's not about that. What you're going to look at is you want to look at these stats. The individual stats for your cavalry. And what it says it's going to do is doing for either all of your cavalry using these stats or just one of your cavalry. If you choose like the T10 or T9, whatever other choice that is. So it's going to be, whatever. So that's kind of like the gist of the Library of War. That's all I got. I guess that's all I wanted to share. Anyone got any questions? Any tidbits? Yeah, man, that's the thing. So the Guns of Glory, they do this stuff, but they don't tell you anything about it. So this Library of War, nobody even thought about it. They just think like, oh wow, this is just something I'm supposed to do, and it's supposed to help me, but they don't explain how it's going to help you. And it's up to people like myself, Gun Muse, and whoever else are making videos to try to look at this and say, all right, yes, this is how it works. But for me, it kind of makes sense if you're just looking at it on, all right, so I have, now does it make sense that all of my cavalry, I'm getting 22% off my total defense? If I go here, look at my war, my cavalry defense is at almost 22%. Am I getting 400% added to my cavalry attack? That doesn't even make sense. So that's why I kind of thought about it. Wait, people forget that each particular troop has their own stats that go to them. Now, that said, you think about it, this is only per troop. So I guess somebody can make a calculation of, what the actual benefit is. That's too much math for me. But, if I have 10,000 of these, whatever I get will be multiples of that 10,000. So this is per troop, and then whatever many troops you have, blah, 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 blah. And war boost, war books very good for stat increase. Yeah, it's good, but you know what? There's a way. I gotta figure out. Is anybody like good at like doing charts and stuff like that? You can actually figure out what the actual increase is. So for this one, let's see. 1 second here. So if I look at, I'll just do cavalry, some T10s. All right, so this one, take a look. It says, all right, storm people, crush hovering when attacking your riders, deal extra damage worth 2.5 of 210% of your health minus the enemy's health will be calculated, including the benefit, including the bonuses. 2.5, 200% of your health minus the enemy's health. So I think when it comes to, I don't even know how to read this shit. This kind of like makes me, let's say 2.5 of your enemy's health, your health minus the enemy health. All right, so with this is what I'm thinking. So this actually goes back to the main stats. Actually, no, it's the same thing. So you think about it. So if you have a whole bunch of T10s, so it would be, sorry. It would be your health. So 210%. So it'll be about, this will be pushed up to 10 minus whatever your person says. Blah, 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 blah. It's confusing as hell. Let's see, I have a question. What are they for? Artie? Artie for when you're plundering. If you send Artie when you're plundering, you'll gather a lot more. Artie is for taking damage. Arties for gathering. If you're going to gather, only send artillery. Don't send anything else. Send your artillery and your ship. You're going to gather the most. Well, the damage. So what damage is, and I don't know the exact formula. Damage is a calculation between attack and health. So it's some type of calculation. I don't, like I said, I don't. I think go to Games Guide info. I think he goes in some detail of that. So all damage is using two of these stats, and that comes up with damage. I don't know the actual formula of that, but yeah, damage is just, it's kind of like, I want to say it's made up. It's almost like a made up stat in a way. It's not its own stat. You know, most, if you see here, it's health, attack, and defense, but a combination of the two is what's causing the damage. So damage is just, we go to Games Guide info, and I think he has more information on damage. Getting you KBK buffs. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Any other questions, y'all? I want to kind of keep this going just for it to go. But basically, you know, I said what I had to say. I know this is different than what other people are saying, but to me, it makes more sense to have it be per troop, individual stats versus your entire stats that you have. Because it doesn't, you don't see the difference in a battle. I don't see an extra 400% of my cavalry attack. I don't see, if I had extra 400% of my cavalry attack in a battle, then I'll be killing it. But it's not the case. So I should be able to create a calculator to actually determine how much you're going to get, you know, based on your formation. But I don't have time to do that, y'all. I have barely enough time to do these freaking videos, so somebody else is going to have to get that done. Hey, y'all, do me a favor. At the bottom of the chat screen is like an emoji. Do you know y'all can do that? Let's see here. Bang. Does that work for y'all? Doing emojis? Boom. So just something. All right, that's it, y'all. I don't have nothing else to say unless y'all have some questions. I am looking for videos. Pete, Big D, Lion. Please give me those videos so I can put it on my channel. I know there's been some serious battling. There you go, Chad. So thanks everybody for watching. I'll probably release another video. If you haven't watched already the battlefield treatment, go ahead and watch that. And it kind of corresponds with my my mega rally. So if you're not a leader of a mega rally, right? You have a mega rally. You got to remember that the person that's leading, you get their stats no matter what. So if you change to the duelist boots and maybe a duelist ring or something like that, you're going to add an extra 18% to your battlefield treatment. This is only during like mega rallies because otherwise you don't want to reduce your overall stats just to get that 18%. So what's that? Oh, I don't cash them in right now. Come on, man. Stop looking at my stuff. I feel exposed. No, I don't even use my stuff right now. I'm just collecting coins so I can get my infantry up to T11s. Only thing I really do is I just collect silver. Since I'm exposing myself, I'll tell you what I got here. The only thing I'm really doing is you get a ton of resources in this new honor challenge. But basically, I just collect the silver, 250,000 a day. So I'm just collecting this right here. So I'm about to have, and then the rest of it I'm getting for free. All this stuff right here, that turns out to be a ton. But yeah, I'm gonna do a video too on using your farms. So when I was saving for my when I was saving for my C35, I was able to, between myself and my farms, get 1 million silver a day. Yeah, I get 1 million silver a day, or 4 million silver. I mean 4 million iron a day, and that didn't include anything that I gathered at the mines as well. And that's like an easy way to kind of, and you don't even need like a big farm. You don't even need a farm. Matter of fact, your farm don't even need troops. So what I did is basically all my farms went to the catacombs, and basically if you got three different farms or whatever, 10 different farms, if y'all all buy this 250K worth of silver each day, I mean that's 1 million with four. You got eight, something like 8, 10, whatever kind of farms. You can collect a ton of resources without even doing anything. Where you don't have to worry about getting your troops getting zero, because you don't really need troops. All you got to do is go to the level 2 of the spirit mine, where you can't lose anyway. So that's the way. So if you want to build, I think you got to be level 20 or something like that to get into the spirit mines. So that's a quick, easy way to get some extra resources. Very easy, very quick. All you have to do is just make sure they're doing their thing in the spirit mine for that 6.5 hours, since they took away the 10 hours that we usually do. But that's basically how I got my C35. I just used my farms, sent them to the mines, made sure they collect that 250 a day when I needed silver, or 1 million a day when I needed iron, and from there it's easy, pretty easy to get it done. But everybody, thank you for hanging in there, watching. What I might do, I like the interaction of live stream, but what I might do is just release like a separate video going over the Library of War. Because this is like a longer conversation of it, but it might help to have something a little shorter. So I'll probably release that in case you didn't understand anything. But yeah, send me those videos if you have it of some battles. Let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate y'all joining me here. And anyway, we'll go from there. So thanks everyone. Have a good day.